All right. It is Lambo's Water Sports featuring Sideline Sports Network featuring the Big Brother. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most shocking NFL game of all time. We thought the Denver Broncos was going to compete. We both picked the Dolphins to win, but 70 points? 70 points. Y'all grown people in the Denver Broncos, everybody in the organization, I'm calling the head coach. I'm calling it everybody in the organization. All y'all need to be fired. All y'all don't deserve any Gatorade or water at practice week. Y'all need to be running at least about 50 gassers after giving up 70 points on defense. You need to fire everybody. Fire all the defensive coaches. Go back to where you came from before you came to football. 70 points is embarrassing. It's an embarrassment for the Denver Broncos, but it's great for the Miami Dolphins, who Tua went off. I mean, Tyreek Hill went off. The big brother would name some other guys who went off as well. But I mean, 70 points? I mean, my God. I mean, I thought it. Luckily, Mike McDaniel was humble enough to take a knee because he could have put up 73. 73 was actually the record. They would have kicked the field goal. But I had a feeling the way they kept going, they could have put up 80 points. But that wasn't the tone. Mike McDaniel said the tone wasn't really to set the record because you could set the record and get sent home in the playoffs like they did last year. So it wasn't really the tone of the message going forward for the week. What do you think of this game, and who's the problem for Denver? Is it Sean Payton or is it Russell Wilson or is it both?
I'll start with this game. I don't think there was really anything that the offense for Denver could have done differently to change the outcome at all because the defense was getting cooked all game long. Tua, obviously, 310 yards, 4 touchdowns. They had 5 rushing touchdowns. Raheem Mostert continues to go off. He went off last week, obviously, and he got 3 more touchdowns today. Devon A-Chain, I'm pretty sure he's a rookie. Yes, he is a rookie.
Yes, he's a rookie.
Dude, did you see his stat line? 203 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. His long was 67 yards. So, I mean, he looked good last week, but it was the Mostert show last week. Even with Mostert getting 3 touchdowns on the ground, Devon A-Chain looked far and away like the best running back on both teams. And, the Broncos have Javonte Williams, who Sean Payton refuses to use for some reason. I mean, obviously, this game was different. You were down like literally the entire time, so you're not in a very run the ball position, and I understand that. But throughout, so I'll get into my who's it on, right? I think it's on both. The reason I think it's on both is because obviously the issues were happening last year with Russ, with Nathaniel Hackett as the head coach. Played awful. They had 6 games of over 20 points, and 4 of those came in the last 5 weeks. So literally weeks 1 through 13, they had only gone 20 points or over in 2 games. So Sean Payton's already got 2 games of 20 plus. It's just in one of the games you lost still by 50 freaking points. Russ looks better than last year. He's not, putting the ball in danger as much with just like stupid decisions. Like he just forgot how to play football last year. He had 306 yards in this game. He's averaging 260 per game, which is his highest in a while. So like Sean is helping Russ out for sure. I think that in this game in particular, they just ran through a buzzsaw. Like, unfortunately, just right through a buzzsaw. So that sucks. But the defense is supposed to be one of the best in the league talent-wise. They're falling short. So that's on coaching for sure. But, I mean, I don't know. I can't put it on one or the other. I do think it's both. If I had to put it on more, I still don't know because Sean's not using Javonte, and I think that he needs to get back to using Javonte. Obviously, he's still recovering. I mean, not still like recovering, but he's coming back still from a terrible knee injury last year. I get that. But I mean, the improvement we've seen from Russ, I don't think can be like taken away. So that's why I'm having a hard time differentiating who's hurting them more, just because I know that Sean has helped Russell get to this elevated point comparatively to where he was last year. But I also don't want to put Sean too high up because he's still letting the defense go to shit, and Javonte Williams hasn't been involved at all. And I think he's a very talented young back. So I'm going to go split 50-50 here because he's helping Russ do better, but he's hurting the defense. So I don't know.
Well, I have to blame. You said Russell Wilson's getting better. I agree. All of it is out on him. I understand he's the quarterback, so some of that blame is on him. I have to blame Sean Payton for, one, you're the head coach, so you're responsible for everything. You're basically like the CEO. So the head coach is responsible for everything: offense, defense, special teams. I'm not questioning who he's hired. He think he's hired a great staff. I'm not questioning that. I'm just questioning the fact that you let Russell Wilson in the game after being down 50 points. You still kept him in the game. I think that's the part that's disrespectful, keeping him in the game. I'm surprised he did not get hurt. Normally, you're down 50. You don't really keep guys in the game. But I think he's to blame just because, they're supposed to be this team. They're supposed to rebuild. They're 0-3. They're literally the second worst team to the Chicago Bears, who the Chicago Bears is just awfully worse than everybody. But they're getting there. I think they're close to getting there after getting beat by 50. Now, if they didn't get beat by 50, you could debate that they're the best 0-3 team just because, they're rebuilding. They have the talents there. They're just not using the talent, like you said. They're not using their running backs. So I got to blame it on the head coach because it's like 70 points. Like, when's the last time a team's ever gave up 70 points? Like, I have to blame that on him. It comes out of defense. It comes down to his play calling as well. I think his play sheet is way longer. Like I said, he's worked with a Drew Brees for a very long time where Drew Brees could understand and comprehend a play call that's long. But he mentioned in week 2 that he needed to wear some type of wristband. He said that to Russell Wilson, he needed to wear a wristband. So the play call verbiage, I think, is way too long NFL-wise. I feel like everybody's trying to be cute with that long call play verbiage. It's just too much in one sentence. All you need to say is twins right, 41 zone, like something simple. We don't need all this jet right, Z Dover, H right. That's a whole sentence. We don't got time to do that. That's a whole sentence. Like, are we trying to be cute? Are we trying to add vocabulary? Are we trying to add words we never heard before? Like, I think it just comes down to the verbiage of the play call, and since he's the main play call on offense. So his verbiage has to go down. Like I said, Russell Wilson's not a bad quarterback, but you're not coaching a Drew Brees, all right? You're not coaching Drew Brees. This is a whole different team out there. This is not the Saints. So, and plus he was out of coaching for a whole year. So I get it that he was on Fox. He was talking about Nathaniel Hackett, but he's getting to that point if he does not change. He really criticized Nathaniel Hackett, but he's really on them same terms right now. So I'm just not very pleased with this Broncos team. I thought I expected better. Now, we didn't expect the Broncos to exactly make the playoffs or anything. We weren't predicted to be the AFC Championship game, but we expected them to be somewhat competitive and be better. But they've been disappointing as far as the AFC, especially giving up 70 goddamn points to the goddamn Dolphins, which we know, as me being a Patriots fan, having on this jersey, we held them to 24 points offensively. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle didn't get too much at all. We got beat by the run game. That's great. But, 70 points. Even though we lost, we didn't give up 70 points. If we're not the Chargers, we didn't give up 36. I'm fine with 24 points.
Yeah. I'm also, after hearing you talk more, I'm definitely leaning more on this is more on Sean than Russ. Like, the Washington game, you had they were up
18
20,
at least.
18. Yeah. Like, How do you allow them to come back like that? And it's like it's not a team that I think is more talented than them. So, it's you're passing the ball too much in the second half, up 18. You're not using your running back as much. So, like I said, it's not just this game issue with Javonte. Like, he's not using him a lot in general through 3 games. And when you're up 18 points, run the damn ball. And they really weren't doing it. They left too much time on the clock. Washington came back and wins the game. Week 1, they lose by 1 to the Raiders. We've seen the Raiders get exposed now like 2 weeks in a row. So they didn't get exposed, but I think that they should have beat Pittsburgh and they didn't. So, it speaks a lot to just how they go into every game. Obviously, I'm not a damn coach, so I'm not going to say how to do your job or anything, but you can't mismanage your team like that to where you're giving up 2 possession games in the second half and you're allowing a team to embarrass you, just emasculate you, put up 70. Like these guys got to go home to their families now. Just emasculated as just like a whole notch below where they left the house that morning. They came back home and they were just like, you got to sleep on the couch tonight. Like that's what it looked like out there, man. And I'm with you. I think it's more on Sean than it is Russ, but like as the step above last year's performance that Russ has gotten to still hasn't led to wins yet. So, we'll just have to see if this experiment is worth continuing or if something that, and here's the issue too. Russ is old as hell, obviously a step below where he used to be. And he's got one of the highest like per year salaries in the NFL. And they traded away, 2 firsts?
At least 2 firsts, yes.
And then they gave another first away for Sean Payton.
I mean, my God.
So, you screwed yourself. You put yourself in a corner here because you don't have any first-round picks. You're locked into the quarterback who is obviously on the decline of his career, and you gave away another first for a head coach that seemingly hasn't caught up with the times. He's not, he took that year off and I don't know, he doesn't look like he's up to the speed of the NFL anymore. So like he's obviously, like I said, not a coach. So I'm not telling him how to do his job. It just doesn't look good out there, Sean. It doesn't look good. All right. And your team isn't really in a position to get better in the next few years because you're locked up in cap space with obviously Russ leading the way there. You got receivers who can't stay healthy or can't hold on to the ball. You're not using your running back, and you don't have any draft picks. So good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Like I said, next episode, we're going to be talking about all NFL games. Now, there were some upsets. One of them was the Colts beating the Ravens in overtime. MattPatt was right. As far as Gardner Minshew does deserve to be a starting quarterback in the NFL because he played excellent yesterday. The Saints losing Derek Carr. He does have a sprained AC joint in his shoulder. They blew a 17-point lead against the Packers, which that blew both of our picks. Jameis Winston couldn't score 1 more point. I mean, I don't know what the world happened. Then the Bears, they just continue to suck badly. Then the Texans beat the Jaguars out of shock. I mean, they ain't beat them, they whooped them. So we have more to talk about next. And one more thing, I did not forget about this. I didn't forget about this. The Arizona Cardinals, ladies and gentlemen, beat the Dallas Cowboys, which I did not expect for that to happen. I'm not going to rave on it yet because they did cost me money in my parlay because every time the Dallas Cowboys are supposed to beat a team they're supposed to beat, they end up losing. But we're going to talk about that next, all right? So this is Lambo Sports. We will be talking about that next and how